A man can be silent. He can control his emotions. He can guard his time like treasure. But if he exposes his weak points, all of it can fall apart. One crack in the armor, and everything he's built becomes a target. True strength is not loud. It's not reactive. It's not desperate to be seen. It is quiet. It is calculated. It waits. And when the moment comes, it moves with purpose. In this part, we go deeper, into the quiet art of protecting your core, into the strategy of patience, growth, and discipline, into the philosophy of the man who no longer plays games because he's already won the one that matters most, mastery over himself.
Chapter 4. Never reveal your weak points. You can master the art of silence. You can become the stone in the storm. You can guard your time, your attention. But if you want to maintain your strength, your center, and her respect, there is one rule that stands above all the rest. Never fully expose your true vulnerability. You may meet a woman whose warmth seems unconditional. She may hold you in the dark and whisper, "I want to know the real you." She may promise to accept your pain, to never betray your trust. And you may want to believe her, because deep down, you are tired. You long to be understood. You want to finally hand your heart to someone who seems soft and safe. But as Machiavelli warned, even those who love you may one day use the knowledge of your weaknesses if it serves their advantage. This is not cruelty. This is human nature. Open vulnerability is a crack in your armor, and sooner or later, someone will aim for it. Not always with malice, sometimes out of instinct, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of a need to test your strength. Every man carries within him a wound, a fear of being unwanted, a shame over past failures, a scar from betrayal, a regret over what he failed to protect, an insecurity he cannot shake. And women, especially those who are emotionally intelligent, perceptive, intuitive, will sense that wound. She may not want to exploit it, but she will notice it. She will test it. She will press it. Because, consciously or unconsciously, she wants to know how deep it runs. She wants to know how much of you she can shape. That is not evil. It is instinct. Now, listen to me carefully. You can be sincere, but you are not required to be emotionally naked. You can be honest, but you are not obligated to lay your soul bare. You can share a moment, but that does not mean you hand over your entire inner world. Machiavelli wrote, "A ruler may suffer, but he must never show it, or the people will doubt his strength." The same applies to you. You have the right to feel pain, but you are not required to display it. You can hurt, but you do not need to seek sympathy. You can stumble, but you do not owe her your confessions. Why? Because every time you speak of your deepest wounds, you are handing her a weapon. And the man who hands over weapons, no matter how trusted the recipient, surrenders power. Let me give you an example. You tell her about a betrayal in your past. You explain how it shaped your fear. You trust her. She listens. She cries. She holds your hand. But months later, in a moment of conflict, she says, "You're just afraid, like you were back then. I know you."
And in that moment, you go silent, because it feels like a dagger. And it is. Only you gave it to her. You opened the gate to your most sacred space. You offered her the blueprint of your wounds. And now that map has been used, not necessarily out of cruelty, but out of human nature. You thought you were building intimacy, but you were slowly surrendering command. A man must be like a fortress. There may be gardens inside. There may be rooms full of warmth, of laughter, of joy. She may enter many of those chambers. She may see your compassion, your fire, your care. But there must be one room, one sacred sanctuary she can never enter. Your core, your fears, your private pain, your unhealed places. If you give her the key to that room, you give her power. And with that power comes an imbalance, one she may never fully admit, but one she will instinctively feel. This is not coldness. This is maturity. Emotional maturity is not the absence of feeling. It is the ability to discern who, when, and how much to reveal. It is the understanding that transparency has limits, that some truths, especially the ones that shape our deepest vulnerabilities, must remain ours alone. Because if a man demands pity, he invites contempt. Machiavelli knew this. Pity cannot be demanded. It must be evoked. If it is expected, it turns into disgust. A woman respects a man who hurts in silence, who bleeds privately, who chooses stillness instead of spectacle. Not because he's playing a game, but because he protects his own foundation. If she does not know where it hurts, she cannot hit it. And if she cannot hit it, she respects it. She feels the power of a man who is unshakable, a man who cannot be unraveled by provocation or manipulation. That man, that is the man she remembers. That is the man she values. That is the man she follows, not out of fear, but out of awe. So remember this: your inner sanctuary is sacred. Never hand out the key. Once you do, you've compromised your position. And a man who gives up his position cannot be king in her heart.
Chapter 5. Learn to win through patience. You can endure the storms. You can protect your inner sanctuary. You can become distant, untouchable, like a mountain rising above the clouds. But if you truly want to rise above the game, if you want to become a man who cannot be broken, you must learn the final and most powerful lesson. Play the long game. Do not seek revenge. Build yourself. When you're betrayed, it hurts. When you're manipulated, it wounds your pride. When a woman uses your honesty against you, your first instinct is to retaliate, to show her you're not weak, to prove you can strike back harder. But right there, right at that very moment, most men lose the war, because revenge is a reaction, and reaction is the loss of control. Machiavelli wrote, "Never act without knowing what the outcome will be. Revenge without calculation is weakness disguised as strength." When you're trying to get even, you're still thinking about her. You're still emotionally tethered to her world.
You're still investing your power in the past. You're still playing her game. And if you're still playing her game, then, brother, you're already losing. The wise man does something else entirely. He doesn't strike back. He evolves. He doesn't throw fits or plead his case. He doesn't go low or play petty. He disengages. Not just physically, but energetically. He withdraws his focus. He reclaims his energy. He reclaims his emotions. And he turns that energy inward. He hits the gym. He builds his business. He fixes his finances. He sharpens his mind, strengthens his body, deepens his spirit. He starts waking up earlier, working longer, living cleaner. He turns pain into fuel. He turns betrayal into discipline. That, right there, is the real revenge. Let me give you an example. She leaves. She flirts with others. She expects you to chase her, to beg, to explain yourself, to plead for her attention. But instead, you go quiet. Not with bitterness, not with aggression, with dignity. You don't text. You don't call. You don't chase. You go on living. And in 1 month, 2, 3, she starts to notice you're calmer, you're stronger, you've elevated. You didn't crumble. You didn't lash out. You didn't destroy yourself to prove a point. You simply rose above. And that silence, backed by progress, burns deeper than any insult ever could. That silence says, I was with you, not because I needed to be, but because I chose to be. Machiavelli would have put it this way: strength is not in winning every battle. True strength is refusing to fight unnecessary wars. So no, you don't strike back. You don't seek to hurt. You don't chase the last word. You don't need closure. You grow. You build. You evolve. You rise. And that becomes her consequence. Not because you punished her, but because she lost access to the man she didn't value. And you, my friend, gain something even greater: yourself. Every workout, every goal, every late night you chose to discipline your pain instead of projecting it, that was a step out of her orbit and back into your own power. You're no longer part of her drama. You've left the emotional playground. You've become a man who no longer reacts. A man who moves only with intention. A man who is no longer a player in her game because he's now the creator of his own. And if she ever tries to return, she won't find the same man. She'll find a new man, a man she doesn't control, a man who leads himself, a man whose only competition is who he was yesterday. That, my brother, is true victory. True domination is not in breaking others down, it's in building yourself up so fully that no one else can reach your level. That's what Machiavellian strength looks like in relationships. It's not about manipulation. It's about mastery. Your silence becomes a message. Your growth becomes your voice. Your self-control becomes your power. You don't play the short game. You don't settle for petty wins. You win the war by refusing to enter her battlefield at all.
So remember, don't seek revenge, level up. Don't break down, build up. Don't explain, become undeniable. And in doing so, you stop chasing her validation, because now you're chasing something far greater, your highest self. Epilogue: the philosophy of a smart man. Women's games can be subtle. They can be sweet as perfume, sharp as a thorn hidden in a velvet glove. They can shake your balance, test your worth, confuse your clarity. But the real victory isn't in exposing her tactics. It's not about winning at her game. It's about not playing it at all. Machiavelli said, "The strongest ruler is the one who governs himself before seeking to govern others." He never struck blindly. He didn't rush into battles he couldn't win. He understood power is rooted not in forceful gestures or loud words, but in restraint, in strategy, in calm unpredictability. The 5 rules we've explored together are not tricks. They're a way of living. They're the code of a mature man. A man who doesn't beg for affection, doesn't chase attention, but earns respect by the very way he carries himself. So if you want to become a man who cannot be broken, don't start by trying to control a woman. Don't start by analyzing her moves or figuring out how to win with her. Start with yourself. Build the foundation. Become the man who isn't afraid to be alone. Become the man who chooses, not needs. A man who owns his emotions, his time, his life. Be mysterious, but never fake. Let there be a depth in you that no one can fully reach. Let her feel your warmth, but know that at your core, you remain sovereign. Be cold-blooded, but never cruel. Cold-bloodedness is not heartlessness. It's the calm presence of mind under pressure. You can be kind. You can be generous. You can be loving. But in key moments, be steel. Be rare, but not distant. Let your time and attention be valuable. Let her understand that every moment with you is a choice, not an obligation. And above all, guard your core. Do not let any game, any manipulation, any emotional storm pull you out of your center. You are your most precious resource. You are your greatest project. You are your strongest foundation. Never meet weakness with weakness. Never shout to prove your strength. Never explain to prove your worth. Never search for validation in places that offer none. Respond with calm. Respond with action. Respond with presence. In a world where most men are emotional creatures of reaction, a smart man chooses the long game. And that's why he always comes out on top. You are the one who steers your life. You are the one who stands steady even when the world spins out of control. You are the one who in every situation chooses dignity over drama. And that, my brother, that is the entire philosophy of a smart man.
Don't seek to be understood by everyone. Seek to be respected by those who matter. Don't choose the easy path. Choose the path that makes you stronger. Don't let emotions rule you. Learn to rule them. Don't become someone else's game piece. Become the piece no one dares move. And one day, you'll wake up and realize Everything you were chasing in others, you've already found within yourself.